Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Dr. Laura Leyton, and on this channel, we answer your medical questions, debunk myths, and discuss ways to help you live your most amazing life. Always from a real doctor, and always evidence-based with the most up-to-date science. Recently, actress Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop Labs Netflix series has taken the internet and the world by storm. Critics have condemned the show for promoting pseudoscience, spreading misinformation, and for being a glorified infomercial. But is Goop Labs as bad as its press? In this episode, a real doctor reacts to the full season of the Goop Lab with Gwyneth Paltrow. We will talk about the good, the bad, and the just goopy. Whenever someone is telling you about health-related products or services, it is important to not just immediately accept what they're saying or immediately reject what they're saying. Here are a few questions you should ask. Is a person telling me about this trying to sell me something? This is a huge red flag. Is there evidence or research that supports their claims? How much evidence? How large were the sample sizes? Have other people been able to repeat the same results? Can you see the results for yourself? Does this sound too good to be true? Is it advertised as a quick fix? Is that a better or more proven treatment for the same issue? Does that make sense to me? Intuition is not always right, but if something seems off, it very well might be. It is important to be skeptical and ask questions before just accepting what someone says. Is the person telling me this an expert? Are their credentials legitimate? Do they have a conflict of interest? Is this dangerous? Does doing this put me or other people in immediate harm's way? It is important to remember that Netflix or even YouTube are not necessarily the best sources for health information. It is always okay to ask a trusted healthcare professional for an honest opinion. Now, I'm not saying that everything you see on the internet or your favorite streaming platform is false, but it's important to ask the right questions and always err on the side of caution. There are 6 episodes. 1. The healing trip. 2. Cold comfort. 3. The pleasure is ours. 4. The health span plan. 5. The energy experience. And 6. Are you into it? Click the links in the comments below to skip to a specific episode. Okay, so let's start with the intro.
When I started Goop in 2008, I was like, my calling is something else besides, making out with Matt Damon on screen or whatever.
And now it's this modern lifestyle brand.
To me, it's all like laddering up to one thing, which is optimization of self. Like, we're here one time, one life. Like, how can we really milk the shit out of this?
You have 100 needles in your face, Elise.
Just another day at the office.
The opportunity that we have with the Goop Lab is that as a company, we can go out in different groups and go on a much deeper dive into some of these topics that our readers are curious about.
This is going to be my first experience with mushrooms.
You have to let go of your ego.
So what happens in a workshop?
Everyone gets off.
What are you doing to people? We get to explore, is this real? Do we feel better?
And grapple with some topics that are hard and embarrassing or shameful.
Isn't that beautiful? Relax.
That was next shit.
So, are you guys ready to go out in the field and make a ruckus?
Yeah.
You can handle it, right?
So very important that they're putting that this is not a medical advice. I appreciate that.
You can cry, you can scream, you can pound the ground. The only thing we don't do is get sexual with each other, and we don't take our clothes off. But other than that, literally anything goes. Just let it rip.
But once you take a psychedelic, you're in on the
Basically.
Down the hatch.
No turning back.
We know at Goop, obviously, the psychedelics are controversial. But what we try to do at Goop is to be open-minded and explore ideas that may seem out there or too scary so that people can have access to the information and make up their own minds.
Yeah, a little bit of anxiety to be doing this on camera, but whatever.
You know what's on the other side is just total freedom.
Very intense, full body experience.
Melting into the floor.
Time and space around me had just dissipated.
I think it was the most important experience of my life.
I feel like a different person.
What have I gotten myself into?
The healing trip.
Okay, welcome. It's such an honor to have you both here.
What a pleasure. Thank you.
Can you explain to us what MAPS is?
MAPS is the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, and it's an organization that supports and does and fundraises for psychedelic research.
I would personally love to know a little bit about the trajectory of using psychedelics as a healing modality.
Psychedelics have been part of the human history for thousands of years.
That's
in
true.
the context of spirituality, healing, and celebration of transitions. In the 60s, we had a battle between the young folks, the hippies, the baby boomers, and we had the drug warriors. Psychedelics were then criminalized. Well, psychedelics are back, and they're being used in the context of treatment.
That's also true.
Why do you think it's coming into the mainstream now?
You know, there's depression, anxiety, suicide is all increasing, despite what we thought in the 90s was this renaissance of psychopharmacology. You know, Prozac, Celexa, Zoloft. Psychiatry left psychotherapy behind, and we embraced these drugs that we all know give terrible side effects. And really, as a culture, we're hungry for something else and for something to help us heal.
Right. So we wanted to explore psychedelics in a therapeutic setting.
There have been small studies about psilocybin, which is the active ingredient of magic mushrooms, for refractory or drug-resistant major depression and anxiety disorders. They were performed in a controlled and safe environment. While there is a lot of anecdotal evidence, we still need more and larger studies.
So a microdose of mushrooms is a very, very small amount that is likely not to make you feel the very intense psychoactive effects of mushrooms. I'd get like a very large quantity, put them in my freezer and, you know, grind them up in smoothies and really slowly dose over the time. And so I've probably been doing that for about, oh my God, it's like 6 years now. It's a long time. I was personally going through a lot of depression and trauma and anxiety. I progressed towards feeling really, really suicidal. My mind became my worst enemy. I think for people of color, specifically, we have like a culture of being hard and not really facing things like mental illness or even just like emotional pain. But I've been going to therapy. I'd been giving it the old college try, but only could that take me so far. I needed something else. And mushrooms were sort of the gateway towards a better sense of healing for me that I really wasn't able to find on my own. Yeah. Over this time, I've witnessed a transformation in myself that I really didn't think was possible. I know that this is illegal, but I feel like people can say what they want to say about it, but until they're in a position where they're about to take their life, I don't feel like that they can judge me, if that makes any sense.
This is Classic Goop, stocked out about conventional medical therapies and gloss over any risk of novel therapies while neglecting to mention that the lack of studies means we know far less about the risks.
7 degrees Celsius,
Oh my God,
44
I'm so
degrees
cold just to watch
Fahrenheit.
this.
Thermo-shockingly cold for a human to go into the water.
This is referred to as whole body cryotherapy. In medicine, we do use cryotherapy to remove warts or to treat lesions on the cervix.
You cannot just jump in. This is dangerous.
It is.
Right over here.
Don't do it at home.
I started to feel like a panic attack coming on.
A human wouldn't last too long, and he would go into involuntary gasping. But cold water is a great way to learn to deal with stress. If you learn how to breathe deep, fully in, breathe in, letting go.
I'm gonna pass out.
A little bit. You can go into the cold water and adapt. And with that, you become the alchemist of life itself. Right? It's your moment. There's the lady. Hello.
I've just been watching YouTube videos of you.
All right. Can I hug you?
Of course.
Hey, you lovely lady.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you. Amazing.
Thank you.
I can't believe you're real. You're the living example of mind over matter.
Yes. They call me the Iceman because I do all kinds of extremes in the cold. And I show through evidence-based studies that our autonomic nervous system can be influenced just by the mind.
Hof fails to disclose that he and his twin brother have been studied and found to have a genetic predisposition to resilience in extreme cold. He also has spent decades training himself for his PR stunts.
I think what you're trying to prove, or what you're in the process of proving, is that this prevailing belief that we cannot control our autonomic nervous system is a fallacy, and that we can directly impact and affect our immune system, our mood, the way that we respond to life.
Yeah, yes. And now I work with scientists all over the world. So we provoked a reaction already. The study I did showed that just by using the mind, I was able to make the skin temperature not go down after exposure of cold water.
It's crazy.
There have been case studies and other studies related to cryotherapy in regards to pain management. There have been theories in which immersion into cold water might induce changes in our sympathetic activity, fight or flight mode. These may alter the perception of pain by reducing it, or sometimes even producing complete instant relief.
But the cold water healed me. I went into nature. I swim under thick caps of ice. In nature, your mind becomes strong. I learned about stillness therein.
Through breath, cold, and mindset.
Yes.
Again, we need more large studies to assess applicability and feasibility of cold water as being potentially effective in the treatment of pain management, anxiety disorders, etc. It is important to appreciate the physiological and psychological benefits that cold water therapy can bring, but we need more data.
Fully in like the seashore. The wave comes. Letting go. Follow the flow. Gonna go immerse into very stressful cold water. Just be as nature is calling upon us. Follow the life force. We are her children. Today we will meet nature. This is it. We will jump into the depths. How's that? Hey! Oh! Oh!
In regards of the breathing techniques, Hof heavily borrowed these from an ancient Tibetan practice called tumo. Tumo is a Tibetan word for inner fire.
.38 Fahrenheit. Really cold.
Don't do that at home,
This
please.
is
This
probably
very
the
dangerous.
most insane thing I've been asked to do for Goop, is to jump in the most cold water in a bathing suit in the middle of winter. So yeah, here I am.
Today, it was a great day.
You think so?
No, I feel so. We are here in the present, feeling strong.
I don't think I would have been able to do what I did today without like this village, like this community.
Family is nature. Trees are nature. We are one. Such a lovable energy running around. Give it sound, give it words from the heart, that's the start. Hey, hey, hey. Do you remember how to play? New revolution starts right in. Your soul, you got it all. It's nature's call to do it all. Hey, hey, doing it all. Let us play. Nice. Daddy. Remind yourself every morning, are you happy? Are you strong? Are you healthy? If not, then breathe, mother.
Hand over hand. You want to focus on your breathing, you want to focus on the sensation in your vulva, and you want to focus on your body's movement.
Orgasms don't drop down from heaven.
For men, it does drop out of the sky. And for women, it's a different, much different experience.
I would imagine a vast majority of women have experienced shame around their own pleasure.
I was feeling weird, even letting the person, like my partner, to touch me during sex.
It's really about the connection you have with yourself.
I have never done the whole mirror, what's happening down there.
You've never seen yourself?
No.
Come over here.
We teach women how to orgasm.
Wow.
Could you flip over my hand? Say what you need.
That's very, very hard for women.
We have to have self to be able to take control.
So have a healthy sexual relationship with yourself so that you're coming to your sexual partner as an active participant in your sexual experience to say
we
what
used
they
to
want.
say that a woman had to learn how to run the
Wow.
And if you can't say it, you're in trouble.
Run the
Are you blushing?
Yes.
This episode is by far the most graphic and, spoiler alert, it contains a lot of naked women of all ages.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm
Talk
ready.
about vaginas?
It's our favorite subject.
Who?
Vaginas.
The vagina is the birth canal only. You want to talk about the vulva, which is the clitoris and the inner lips and all that good shit around it.
The vagina is only the birth
canal.
Oh, see, I'm getting an anatomy lesson that I didn't. I thought the vagina was the whole...
No.
That's why Betty's focus has always been on vulva. That's everything that makes you feel good. So that's her pet peeve with vulva versus vagina.
How long have you been doing this work?
Forever. I mean, I'm already 90.
No way. 90? Let's see. She looks pretty young. Wow. A lot of women.
So what happens in a workshop?
Everyone gets off.
I wanted to take part in this workshop because I'm married and it's wonderful, but I think intimacy is hard, even when you love someone and you're really close.
Sex education for me was me learning from encyclopedias and learning through rumors. Even when I started to come into my own as a woman, I still didn't have any education about pleasure. We have a long way to go, and I think starting to talk about this is the right way to do it.
Welcome, everybody. I'm super excited that you're here today and that you're going to prioritize your pleasure and your sensuality and your connection with yourself.
I think it's important for all women to feel comfortable with their bodies, understand their anatomy, and have forums to discuss women's health issues in an accepting, non-judgmental, and comfortable environment.
And reassuring yourself that you're rock solid in who you are and how you feel.
I think I got some really great takeaways on how to communicate with my partner from the workshop. And now I think I need to figure out my own body and what makes me feel good. So I asked Goop if I could go visit Betty Dodson in New York City.
New York City! I love New York City. I used to live there. I'm still in my heart. New York City.
So I heard that Lexi, one of our star employees, came to you. What was her experience?
When she came in, she was definitely shaking like a leaf.
Yeah.
Hello.
Lexi.
Hi.
You made it.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Betty.
Hello.
Legendary. Betty Dodson.
You're a tall girl.
So nice to meet you. Now I've been seeing you guys on YouTube, so I'm like it's an honor. It's an honor to meet you guys in person. When I first heard Goop was going to do the docuseries and this topic, sexuality and female pleasure, that's the topic that I was more interested in. I grew up in Shanghai. When I grew up, it's not even like okay to like openly talk about sex, for girls especially. And it's not okay to be like sexual. I don't think I explore my body that much. I feel like it was shameful to talk about even. Not that I'm on camera, I'm talking about it like, in front of like millions of people, which is great.
Liberated.
Exactly. That's my journey.
Sadly.
I want everybody who are like me or who grew up in a more conservative culture or even grew up here.
You know what? That's everyone.
Yeah.
Right, Betty, when we have women in the
Sure.
workshops, there's no country in the world that encourages girls to explore themselves and their sexuality.
Doesn't exist.
And we shut them down with the beauty myth and the slut stigma and the
Right.
virginity myth. Like, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
I don't really have anything bad to say about this episode. I actually applaud it.
Beautiful.
So
Cut.
all right. You got it?
Oh my God. Wow. That was incredible. For more great info, check out my favorite OBGYN YouTuber, Dr. Mama Jones.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I feel terrible.
Daffo, do you want to do the class?
Oh, it looks like Rosie.
I had a burrito for dinner.
Believe me, I'm aware. I was salivating over
I mean, you were salivating when I was describing to you my chia pudding that I'm gonna eat
Rosie's my
tomorrow,
dog.
so.
I'm dying for chia pudding.
That's...
Nothing has ever sounded more decadent or delicious to me.
Ready to show the world what it looks like to turn 50?
What? This is not fair at all.
You can make yourself younger on the inside. You're probably going to look younger as well. I'm upping the stakes. It's my one chance of trying to be younger.
What about these women who can like run marathons at 80?
Yeah, Blanche got laid more in her 70s than I did in my 20s.
I guess you never knew this was going to be part of your job title, right?
Oh my God.
In this episode, Gwyneth and her colleagues meet with Dr. Longo from the USC Longevity Institute. The episode also features the research of Yale School of Medicine pathologist Morgan Levine, who has developed a theory that people have a biological age in addition to a calendar-based age. It is important to note that Levine's theories are just that, theories, and still have yet to survive the test of time.
Hi. Nice to meet you, Walter.
Nice to meet you, Walter.
Hi, I'm Morgan.
Hi, Morgan. How are you? I think people everywhere are incredibly concerned with their appearance and how they're aging physically.
Yeah, absolutely. The medical system worldwide is really being stuck on this. Let's wait until somebody has a disease, and then we start treating them. And we've been saying, treat aging, extend health span, extend youth. The problem, I think, with nutrition is being that it never came as a medicine. And really, this is what I worked 30 years almost for, is like, what can a doctor actually give you that allows the person to live longer, healthier?
Right.
Longo failed to disclose that he has created a company, Prolong, to commercialize and distribute his diet products. Goop currently sells his 5-day fasting mimicking diet kit for $249.
Are you ready for your diet, oldie?
I'm ready. Let's see what my life is going to consist of for 5 days. Wow. This is all the food?
Yeah.
You must be joking.
It's actually kind of nice because you don't have to think about what you're gonna eat because it's all in a packet. It's like astronaut food.
You guys put me through like the craziest shit.
No, you love it.
All right, let's see. I imagine, is this breakfast? Okay, I've got an L bar, a nut-based bar. I got some kale crackers, people. I've got the, of course, the requisite NR1 vegetable powder. Spearmint lemon tea, great. Olives, that's fun. I'm already excited for that. And 2 soups, so I guess this would be lunch, yeah?
Lunch and dinner, yeah.
This would be okay.
You're fine, you'll be fine.
Is it, but then it gets less food every day?
It's a little bit less food every day.
Well, I'll certainly be a cheap date. My kids are gonna bum out every time I do a cleanse. They're like, oh no. Get all grumpy.
After looking at Longo's research further, his claims are based on short-term studies with a small sample size and little, if any, further research in long-term sustainability. The more extreme a diet is, the more likely a person is to see dramatic weight loss, but that weight loss is almost never sustainable.
I'm eating some kind of reconstituted soup with quinoa, possibly zucchini. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't understand. How do you reconstitute it? Like, what was it before?
So they freeze dry it, and now we've reconstituted it with water on the stove.
How's it taste?
This one's not so bad. My mushroom soup today at lunch was really brutal. The mushrooms didn't get spongy again.
As a doctor, like with most fat diets, I will pass on this one. The best approach to diet is often using common sense approach that focus on eating food, mostly plants, not too much. My most recommended book on nutrition is Food Rules by author Michael Pollan. A quick read full of helpful, straightforward advice.
The vegan diet is definitely a very good diet, but very difficult to maintain a normal intake of proteins. So it's not that surprising. You get lots of good and lots of bad. In the end, they cancel each other out. Now, when you go to the pescatarian now, you're starting to see all the good and very little of the bad. So it's very good to start with that, with the fasting mimicking periods. The idea is to do it maybe 3 times a year.
Is 5 days really the max that you can do?
Well, yes. I mean, if you go longer, then you start seeing the problems. And also you see eventually the slowing down of metabolism. And that slowdown can last even when you return to a normal diet. And you don't want that, right?
No,
so we see that.
It is incredibly difficult to design and implement controlled and blinded studies of diets. As a result, mainstream media floods people with distorted takes, unpublished research that promotes new quick fixes, fads, and otherwise unsustainable practices.
Other than diet, what would you say is the sort of second most important? Is it sleep? Is it stress?
It's everything you kind of know. Don't
Right.
smoke, exercise, get
That's very
sleep,
important.
and it seems like genetics plays a little bit of a role in it. So,
It's like you say, the tenets of wellness are typically
sleep
free.
well, exercise,
It's
healthy
true.
diet,
but I think
whole foods.
exercise is as important.
Levine is still very early in her career as a researcher, but her work does show some promise and overall advocates for more common sense lifestyle changes like not smoking, getting enough adequate amounts of sleep, regular exercise, and a healthy diet.
Yeah, absolutely. The data suggests about 150 minutes a week, of which maybe 10% should be fairly strenuous. That seems to be ideal.
I do
That's
more than that.
paying attention to not doing damage to yourself to
Makes a lot of
become
sense.
healthier. So I think that we really need to start teaching this in medical schools and have doctors that are trained in health span and what I call youth span. How do you keep somebody young as long as possible? And after that, how do you keep this person healthy as long as possible?
Nutrition is one of the most controversial aspects of medicine. Nutrition research is fast and furious, with new studies often conflicting with older ones.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
But Walter, we need to have a soup discussion.
Well, you know, there's certainly room for improvements.
If I could make my own soup, I would do that like 4 times a year.
So you can go back to your French fries.
Oh, I'm back to my French fries.
The entire universe is made of energy. Only 4.6% of the universe is considered physical matter. The human body has an energy field, and we're processing the world through it. All right, come on up, sitting. The more connected you are energetically, the healthier you will feel. So often people don't slow down and connect, especially the Western world. We value achievement over fulfillment.
Protocols of what they were taking and what they were eating. They cut out.
But I believe the 21st century is the age of energy.
Close your eyes. One more. Inhale.
We're going to see this holistic approach in Western medicine. Now we're going to send that energy through. We're going to see energy healing more and more.
My body was like waving and reacting.
There you go, right there.
The first time that John worked on me, I really just cried.
I had an exorcism.
Beautiful.
In this episode, Gwyneth and the Goopers met with John Amaral, a celebrity chiropractor and self-proclaimed somatic energy practitioner. Amaral's techniques are almost more theatrics than anything else. He proclaims his treatments can help with chronic pain, extreme muscle tension, anxiety, depression, PTSD, digestive issues, insomnia, and more. Just the laundry list alone should raise red flags.
What the are you doing to people?
So I work with energy as a body worker and a chiropractor. You have energy that's bound up in the muscles and ligaments and spine and fascia and organs when you're under stress. So I show up and actually influence how energy's moving so that your body can heal faster in your physical being, your emotional being, your mind, your soul.
Do you find in your practice that you see people who have diseases and that through the energy work, things start to shift?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not treating a particular condition when I'm working with people, but I have a hypothesis. If you just change the frequency of vibration of the body itself, it changes the way the cells regrow, it changes how the sensory system processes. It's
amazingly integrated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dr. Lekos, as an integrative physician, how do you relate to this?
There are two types of medical doctors: ND or allopathic doctors, and DO or osteopathic doctors. For patients, there's virtually no difference between treatment from a DO or ND, so you should feel equally safe with either.
You look like a Svengali puppeteer master. What is objectively happening when you, with your hands, feet above a body, lift? What are you pulling on? What's happening?
You can measure the energy field of the body like somewhere between 4 and 6 feet off the body. The body doesn't end right here at the skin. The body is multidimensional. There are layers to it, and I'm interacting with those layers. So when I'm moving my hands in the air and I'm snapping my fingers and I'm making sounds with my hands, I'm putting energy into the field around somebody's body, and I'm changing their energy system just by the way I interact with it. The way we interact with someone without even touching them at the subatomic level changes them in some way, shape, or form. Sound.
Somatic energy healing is not rooted in medical science, but it does bear some resemblance to OMT, which stands for Osteopathic Manipulative Therapy. OMT is a set of hands-on techniques that DOs use to diagnose and treat injuries. Using OMT, a DO moves patients' muscles and joints using techniques that include stretching, gentle pressure, and resistance. It might even be a helpful strategy in tackling the opioid epidemic.
I've had the privilege to work with a body worker here in LA, pushing on people's thighs and grown men starting to cry like babies and memories coming out. So we're seeing how emotional pain gets stored in our cells.
There are researchers, PhDs, looking at the science behind the human energy field. People like you, Dr. Lekos, are like actually open to exploring.
Exactly. I don't think the technology is quite there to measure energy healing, but just because something isn't proven doesn't mean it doesn't work. Look what he's doing and other people who do what you do. They're helping people get better.
Western medicine has typically focused on pill-first treatment protocols, but non-pharmacological treatment methods like OMT are promising alternatives that deserve more research and attention.
As we get more integrated and more whole, that means all the parts of us that are hard to be with, the sad parts, the scared parts, the helpless parts, the parts that feel lonely, the parts that feel like we're not enough, we start to feel those and be with them. We can be fully accepting of them. What happens is that those things don't trigger us in the world out there so much, and we can be with so much more of the range of human experience and emotion without getting triggered.
The future in medicine should be more holistic. Mind, body, and spirit as a whole.
It was really crazy.
Seems pretty normal for a day at Goop now, don't you think?
Once you become aware of your own energy and that everything around us is energy, you can start to do exercises and activity that help open you up energetically. When you open to all these abilities, mediumship happens.
Was there just something with your car, getting a new car?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's... You're psychic, you're an intuitive, you're a medium, we all are.
I could feel a vibration almost in my jaw.
I kept hearing like M popping up.
This freaks me out. I know you're laughing already.
To me, this whole like medium psychic world is very much like Santa Claus.
This whole group of people are being categorized as unethical and fraudulent.
Ideas are laughed at before they're accepted, right? The world's flat, not round. So there's always this moment of society being resistant to understanding it. If we take a piece of paper, we're on this side, they're right here. They're right here with us all the time.
This episode really contains nothing medical. Personally, of all the episodes, I am the most skeptical of this one. So, no further comments. If you like this video, hit the like button below, share with your friends, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications when I post new videos every Friday. On this channel, we answer your medical questions, debunk myths, and discuss ways to live your most amazing life. Always from a real doctor, and always evidence-based with the most up-to-date science. Hasta luego, amigos!